Hello, welcome to this fixed star profile video. This video is for Yildun. It's a star with a Turkish name. The name means star. And this is the only traditional star name that's from Turkish. We're looking at the auspices first step auspices. Number 1, perfect timing. Number 2, trust and establishing trust. Number 3, doing work that you love. So we'll go into a little bit of the astronomy, and then we will look at a couple of case studies, and that's about it. Okay, this is a fairly hot star. Our sun is 5,772 Kelvin in temperature, and Yildun is 9,000. So it's pretty hot. It has a companion star. The star is quite faint, only 12th magnitude. So definitely not visible to the naked eye. And the mass of the companion is 0.18 times the mass of our sun. So it's less than a fifth of the mass of our sun. So what else can I say about the astronomy? I'm not going to go into all of the astronomy, but I do a full workup on the physical science before interpreting the star. So that's how I interpret the star. Let me see. Oh, yes. Yildun has, in its path through the zodiac and, because of precession of the equinoxes, the stars are all moving just slightly, about 84 minutes or 1 degree, 24 minutes in a century. So at this point in time, Yildun is the closest that it will be to the North Pole. So let's look at the case studies. First person we're going to look at is Warren Buffett with Mars on Yildun. Yildun is at 1can12 as of year 2000. So, of course, we adjust for the year of birth. Warren Buffett has Mars on Yildun in the 7th house, and his chart is A-rated. So 7th house, I see 7th house as more like a house of health. That's how I see it. So let's look at auspice by auspice, case study of Warren Buffett. Number 1, perfect timing. This is what he's really famous for. And I didn't cherry pick him just for that. I apply the auspices to every case, and I expect 100% reliability. So it's not a cherry pick system of case studies. So in Warren's system, he believes in studying the fundamental health of a company and looking at its finances and everything else. And then he looks at whether it's undervalued in the market. And he's really in there for the long-term investment. So he's really against the kind of speculative stock purchasing that a lot of people do. And where timing comes into it is that he's very much against timing the market. And you could say it's like time is a factor of speed. And this is what Einstein's theory of relativity showed us. So speed is a part of the equation. And for Warren, he's not into greedy, speculative speed trading. He's into buying a healthy company and being, it's like a matter of faith. And we'll see how this plays out also. Looking at auspice number 2, trust and establishing trust. So his father was quite a unique individual, extremely ethical in relation to politics, and he was in politics. And he was always campaigning for justice on things that nobody else even thought about, very intelligent. And it's really inspiring to read about Warren Buffett's father. And you can see a lot of where he gets his ethical values from. And so, yeah, there's a great depth there in both men. And the father was a Presbyterian. And also, you can look at his personal life from the point of view of trusting and establishing trust, and just how his relations went with his first wife, and then how she also influenced him towards being the greatest philanthropist in the world, I would say, because he created the Giving Pledge, which calls on billionaires around the world, especially in America, to contribute over half of their wealth to charity. So it's really quite a big deal. And yeah, that's, to do with trust. So it's very deep. And I think if you've got a planet on Yildun, I don't, but if you do, then that's, something to really, really work with. And so I hope that reflecting on these auspices can help you. But I strongly advise looking at case studies, because it opens your heart and it helps you to find the love for yourself that you can more easily perhaps find toward other people when you look at their struggles and the goodness in their hearts, which these case studies can show you. And that is something that I truly love about doing case studies with these fixed stars. So with trust, we could also say about in business, Benjamin Graham was his ideal in stock buying philosophy. So let's look at auspice number 3, doing the work that you love. So we've kind of covered that already about the Giving Pledge. He actually started stock trading when he was 11 years old, and he was able to exercise patience and to make a better profit by doing so. And this taught him a lesson, and also because he realized later that he could have made even more profit if he'd been even more patient. So he's really quite inspiring. I think if you've got this star in your chart, we're not looking at all the auspices, we're looking at the first step. So there are 3 steps. And those are the auspices of the first step. All right, our second case study is Jerry Halliwell from the Spice Girls girl band. And she has Venus on Yildun. And this is in the 8th house, house of science. So it's really a good position for learning. It's an A-rated chart. So starting with the first auspice, perfect timing. She was a dancer at some point in her career, and she's also been quite a leader in the Spice Girls, with songwriting. And you can really see timing in her physical physical ability as a dancer. And she also transformed her life through yoga, which, you know, can help to really slow you down and find your inner self. And all the chakras involved in yoga are part of the hormone system. And these really do help to connect us to the universe and the cycles of the universe, with the pineal gland, the third eye, being related to light cycles and timing. And especially in Jerry's case, she used yoga in pregnancy. So timing terribly important in childbirth, and, you know, with all the harmony that's involved in bringing the child into the world, the child is part of the process. And so it's a harmony, and it's also been seen to be family harmony is one of the big dynamics of childbirth. I think it's a wonderful example of how timing is so important in everything and so deep in our lives. And yeah, a good time to mention that stars are creator gods. They're born and they die, and they create our universe by fusing elements. They fuse light elements, unlike our nuclear technology that splits heavy elements. Anyway, I'm getting off track, so let's get back to the auspices. One thing to mention about timing, Jerry produced the last, she created the last song for the Spice Girls before they broke up, and it's called Viva Forever. So there you go, timing all the way through. And also, you know, you see with generations are involved here, you know, timing is, you know, can be like Viva Forever. And you have Jerry's mother, who is a Spanish woman. She moved to the UK, and only within a few days she met her husband. So interesting timing. All right, the second auspice, trust and establishing trust. So we really can see different ways that the auspices play out between men and women, especially with some stars and some auspices. So for Jerry, she kind of made herself emotionally unavailable through her love life, and she had some very intense hookups, marriages, partners, and the love of her life before she met her present husband, who has really been that's been a happy marriage. But even from when she was young, like at least a teen, she, sorry, I've got a cough, so it's gonna get really nasty if I go for too long. Okay. She fell in love with George Michael, who's homosexual, and all her life she was trying to create a love union with him, and it didn't work. But it was very intense. So eventually she found happiness. So there's definitely a trust thing there going on. And he's a Formula One racing driver. Also about trust, when she first got into the Spice Girls, and it was like, you know, a pulled together group, they didn't actually have a contract with their recording studio. So they had to really prove themselves. So that was quite a thing. So, you know, kind of establishing trust. So auspice number 3, doing the work that you love. Just like with Warren Buffett, she's very intense about her charities. One of them is Angels in Chains, and she made a song for it. She's quite anti-feminism and anti-lesbian, but you could see it in different ways. So I don't want to, like put too firm of a point on it. She's worked in different places in Europe, so she's sung in French and Spanish, so she's been able to express herself and be her authentic self. I think there's been a bit of racism now and then, but she's really put her heart into her work. She's also been a goodwill ambassador for the UN. Okay, so sometimes I come up with a theme through summarizing the various case studies. Sometimes I do that before I've done the astronomy workup, just to get, a bit of a handle on it. And the theme that I find with all the cases here is, it's just, maybe it's a superficial theme, but just something that I see in all of them is unconditional love. Something that Warren Buffett believes in. He said that he believes in. With Jerry Halliwell, her commitment to George Michael, this unrequited love. Nelson Mandela has something on Yildun, and he kept faith with the white people even after freeing his country from apartheid. There is Emmanuel Macron, I think he's the president of France, and his wife, she's way older than him, and she was his drama teacher in high school when they got together. So even though his mother was like, you can't give him children, but he loved her, and they're together and they're good. Paul McCartney, he just could not with Yoko Ono because she would be screeching when they were doing practices in Beatles rehearsals, but he came to love her in his own way. And his first wife, Linda, they were very close. They had a band together, Paul McCartney and Wings, I think it was. And last but not least, Reese Witherspoon. She has a mission to inspire young women. And she's not only an actress, she's a producer. They all have their faults. Definitely not to say that they are perfect. But I hope these auspices and the exploration of these two cases inspires you, and especially if you have something in your chart on Yildun. So that will be fun for you to think about how your timing is perfect, and think about how you establish trust and what trust means to you, and think about doing the work that you love. If you're young, this could make a big difference to your life, thinking about these things. And just look at more cases, it really opens your heart to use the case studies and really contemplate. Then you'll be able to examine yourself with much more compassion. All right. So I hope you will enjoy more of my fixed star videos. And this is actually the first one. So bye for now.